All right. Looks like we're live on YouTube. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today for Open Office Hours. Excited to answer your questions about product strategy, design, um, startup growth, whatever it may be. We're here to help you get unstuck this week on anything, any obstacles you might have on a project, stuff like that. But before we get started, if you're joining us for the first time, thanks for being here. But we'll introduce ourselves quick. My name is Jacob Miller. I'm the marketing and brand manager at Headway. Been here for about 3.5 years, and just excited to be able to help people grow their startups through better marketing and to be able to answer questions like we're doing right now today. So I'll hand it over to Andrew, and he can give his introduction.
Yeah, thank you, Jacob. So I am Andrew Vermancore. I'm the partner and CEO at Headway, and uh, kind of similar to to Jacob. I guess I've been here obviously since the start, one of the original partners, and have worked in I think always good context for people asking. Previously was head of design at Headway and part of our strategy. So as we've grown, have been able to bring in key people for those roles, and Billy and Ryan, and have also been involved in the front end and back end development side of things on projects here at Headway, and kind of in my life cycle, just as a product maker over the last 15 years or so. So hopefully can add some context and some help, and point you to the frameworks that we use, how we um, applying the craft of design, strategy, and development to startups, and how you can kind of find that balance. So based out of, since we are live here and in a COVID world, I'm based out of Green Bay, uh, Wisconsin, which is where Headway is also headquartered.
Awesome, thanks, Andrew. All right, so we do have one question that actually found uh, from Reddit, and it's about building like validation and building a functional MVP. So the person asks, so I did some solution interviews and smoke tests to reach a problem solution fit. My idea is basically a mobile camera app that means it's impossible to develop a no code MVP. So I tried validating the concept through a smoke test, which is known as MVV. He calls it minimum visual product. So landing page with a call to action for a beta version. So his question is, or their question is, if I reach a problem solution fit, should I invest and develop a functional MVP of the app, or is there a way to reach a product market fit without having to develop it? Thanks so much. So it's very technical. It sounds like it's like technical, like right, like it's more of a camera-driven product. And there's probably I don't know if there's a lot of no-code tools for that, but that's what it seems like they're asking.
Yeah, I mean, anytime that you have something that you can't replicate, or through tools, you try to look and trace it back to, the value prop that solution's aiming to offer to the people. And I think the big thing there is, can you start to, can you get someone to buy it before you actually create it, right? Is the value prop or the displayed value through a landing page, or even through that tool, enough for somebody to go forward and pay for the solution? So I think a lot of times, um, we talk about this a lot, but a lot of times you have an idea for a solution that's an app. Is there another way for you to achieve that? Through, it's hard to know without understanding what it is. Like, how who's competing with your camera app, and I wish we knew more about it so we could kind of pull it up and understand kind of how customers were perceiving that app, and where they experienced that hurdle or that obstacle in their life, and why the current tools won't get them there, or maybe like the workarounds that existing customers, or existing prospects and potential customers are doing. Is there demand displayed through their actions, or through money, or through using other tools, to achieve that same thing? And one thing that, um, I guess a good example would be, instead of building instead of people using, let's say, Zoom for something very specific, let's say Zoom for political fundraisers, right? And this is and a good example of that. Zoom can do some of the things you're doing, and people will pay for that and will use it for, like, registrations and understanding. But if you could build a political fundraising app that maybe served that market much better, like, you could potentially grab market from Zoom on that, by having a much more pointed offer and a much stronger beachhead around, the value you can provide, how you talk about it, how you learn and iterate. Zoom isn't going to go, most likely going to go down the route of going after political fundraisers and using Zoom's platform for that, where it has key waiting rooms and things where you're introducing people and you have different badges for different level of supporters, and you have all these different things that are very specific to recognition in a remote world. So I think the big thing there is you can learn without building. I mean, building is definitely a way to learn, but I would try to look at other factors to be able to point to that says, hey, people are willing to engage this way. And sometimes you can't demonstrate the value of what you have. And so if you can't do that through a functional prototype, could you do that through other tools out there or libraries out there where you could get some of the way there? Or, could you do whatever you're offering manually? Let's say it was, this is probably way too simplified for your idea, but let's say it was offering, certain filters and like AR, like could you have somebody, you know, on demand essentially submit a photo via their mobile device, and you upload kind of the applied desired outcome to them within 5 hours or 3 hours or 2 hours or whatever it is. And I know that's we don't have a ton of context around your idea, but I think, like, are there ways that you could get somebody to that outcome without building an app? And I would ask yourself that.
Awesome. Thanks, Andrew. I actually have another one that this one's actually kind of interesting. Um, that let me just grab the question here. Um, all right. So this one, how can I find an advisor for my fintech startup? They ask, "Hello, I'm a founder for a Nigerian slash UK fintech startup. My startup's at the early stage, and I'm looking for an advisor, preferably a UK based one to work with. Where's the best place I can find a committed and experienced candidate? I can't afford a salary payment, but I can offer a reasonable amount of equity. Um, Note: company is incorporated in the UK."
Sorry, I'm running I'm running into some computer issues.
Oh, okay.
Frozen right now. I don't know if my video is frozen.
No, I can see you and hear you. So,
Okay. So the question was, how can I find a fintech advisor? I mean, I think the best way to find somebody is looking for, a lot of fintech companies will actually have their advisory board and also investors on their site. So by looking at competitors either here in the States or overseas, wherever the right market is, you could potentially find people who have already advised other fintech startups. And I think as long as it's not directly in competition with what you offer, they could be that could be a good way to vet somebody to understand whether or not that, hey, have they ever been an advisor before? Are they used to this type of relationship? Do they know what I need from a startup perspective versus trying to go the other route, which is make connections with people in finance or people in corporate, banks and things like that, and then try to figure out, who could be an advisor. You kind of start from the other way and say, well, what are some startups out there that we could find on their about pages that have advisory boards listed as a way to prove credibility, and can we reach out to those people? So if I didn't know anybody personally, and that was, kind of my first step is, hey, I need an advisor, I would look at competitors, tangentially related things that are in finance or fintech, with advisors, and try to reach out to those people and say, hey, I know you advise this company. Here's what I'm looking for. As a way to, one, show that you've done some due diligence and also are familiar with their advisement in specific startups or companies or things like that, and then come follow up with an ask. Because I think when you talk about advisor roles that are more formal that give equity, not everyone, just because they're in fintech or they're in the banking world, are going to be familiar with that type of relationship. So I think being able to find people who have done it before, and maybe who know things that you don't, which is the goal of an advisor, both around startups and around how those types of relationships work. I think that'll be super helpful for you. So it's just kind of one route that comes to mind, that could be relatively fruitful by finding qualified advisors, so to speak, that have been a part of advising boards before.
awesome. We actually have a question that came in through YouTube, from Yvonne UX Designs. I think I need some clarity though. If you can, so they shared, there are many. I think there was a misspelling. I think trolls on the market that specialize in mockups. Can you
Tools.
please?
Sorry, I
Oh,
think it's
tools.
tools. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, sorry. I don't know. It's like, oh, maybe it is like people trolling. But so there's many tools on the market that specialize in mockups. Can you please give us an industry standard and a few that are most useful for companies and for startups?
Yeah, that's a good question, Yvonne. I would say, tools that we leverage a lot for mockups would be Figma. We've kind of moved from different tools like InVision, like Sketch. But so if you're looking for uh, everything from wireframes to, and we actually have a blog post about prototyping that went out, Jacob, last week, right? Kind of three types of prototyping that we could link to Yvonne here that goes over some
Oh yeah,
tools.
for sure.
Some of our favorites, like, Paper Pop is one that's made by Marvel App or was acquired by Marvel App, essentially where you can just sketch out your idea on paper and take photos with your phone, and then you can actually link those things together so you can get a prototype created that way, mock-up created that way. The next level of fidelity would be using something like Whimsical, who they offer wireframing tools for you, where you're able to actually plug those in and um, you know create your prototype in blocks, so there's general themes rather than individual elements. The next thing that Marvel is the other good one for prototyping, but we always point to Figma just based on the ability that it has to create design systems and design libraries where, when we're working on a product, we could mock something up very generally with like a wireframe tool set that we have, and then be able to switch out and swap the different elements into higher fidelity. So as you go through like the design process and kind of ask yourself two questions, like the first is this the right information that should be on this screen? Is this the right flow? And then try to use, more visual design to mock up and actually bring that to full fidelity and to full life. So Figma would definitely recommend. I believe they're free for the first three projects, which is super useful for students and anybody just getting started. You get to get a good feel for the tool. Some of the other tools that we've used include like ProtoPie for more high fidelity mockup and prototyping, like really rich animations. But Figma does quite a bit of that now, just not like videos and stuff that it plays inside of it. ProtoPie, Principle, Framer's another one that you can do design right in, but that also ports to code. So there's a lot of different good tools out there. The one that has probably the most support right now would be Figma in their community. So Headway has a I'm just looking at the next question from Zelino. But Headway has a free UI kit that we created called Shipwright, and so that's available on our site as well. But you could, basically take that and start creating mockups, in very short order on Figma as well as on the community. There's a lot of other good UI kits, mockup kits, wireframing kits that the Figma community puts out for free that you can just duplicate and make your own.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm trying to catch up on all the links that you were talking about, Andrew, from I'm just grabbing them all in case people can't find them or if they didn't hear it correctly or something. Yeah, no problem, Yvonne. Just trying to get all the links for you. um, awesome. I don't know, Andrew, do you want to answer that next question from Celino?
Yeah, that sounds good. If you want to bring it up, what are your
Yeah.
diversity numbers at Headway? Seems like everyone I see in these videos are a certain age, gender, and beard length. Yes, definitely something that we're mindful of as we continue to grow. Um, we do have metrics around kind of race, gender, age, all of those things, that we monitor and that we watch for. We have some very specific initiatives now, and I don't know, Jacob, if you want to talk about some of the communities we're on to really kind of go away from the defaults, which, we've normally posted, like we post jobs and are involved in communities that are in design or in, development or on, working remotely, to more pointed efforts for us that are more on diversity, and actually going to those communities, getting more involved, and really
Hmm.
helping to make Headway a place where people can not only um, be included, but also help us create better work because of it.
Yeah, yeah. I've had some great conversations with Paris from Black Tech Pipeline. I think I started talking to her a couple. I think it's been a couple years, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. So it's been awesome to see her go full time basically into that effort. But yeah, I think for us, we're located in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and we are a smaller city. And we were hiring locally, so we all kind of look the same. But the idea, like Andrew was saying, is now that we're hiring a lot more remote folks, and we have a plan in place to hire a more diverse team. So we look forward to growing that, because it's only going to help us do better work and create a stronger culture of people. So yeah, that's a great question. And when I read that you said bear length, I thought you were making a joke about kinetic bear, because that's my internet handle, but it's bear. I think it's beard length. So um, awesome. Well, cool. All right. I think I have one more question that I actually had propped up from Reddit. Let's see here. This one's actually pretty good. Um, So this question is to technical founders: is it better to start writing my app using tech I'm familiar with, or new tech that's popular? Maybe something that's new and trending. And I think we talk about this a lot internally with our development team. But they elaborate and say, what is the better alternative? Using tech you're familiar with, faster MVP, faster iterations, or using tech that is popular, so it's easy to recruit, bleeding edge features, more resources and help online. Just like it's just new and fancy. In my particular case, it's choosing between front end frameworks like Angular, where I have 6 years experience, and then React, no experience. My gut tells me to go with Angular. Iteration speed's important at the beginning. You can always rewrite later if the product market fit has been found. Curious if anyone else has faced this dilemma and how you handled it.
Yeah, I would say some of the things that he even mentioned, or they even mentioned, in their supporting evidence for like, hey, should I go Angular or React? I think initially you kind of have two things as a startup or as a new product is, first thing is building to learn. So building is a way to learn. Definitely, if you're a developer, you could build faster. So if you want to build smaller tools, I would say stick with Angular. You want to change it quick. You're the captain of your own ship in that scenario where you're iterating, or even the other option is to not choose any tech, right, and to use a no code tool or something out there that you'll be able to iterate even faster with. And then to your second point is it building with tech that's popular, and that's where building to scale is going to be more important. And I would argue that you could find Angular devs just like you could find React, or you could find somebody who's really good with regular JavaScript who can kind of adapt to either. So it really is going to depend on where you're at, but I would always place more priority on the business traction and helping you learn rather than the traction of the team, although that can be one of your risks as you continue on. So just something to be mindful of. But if you're the solo founder and you don't have funds, and you don't have anybody to join you on the effort, I would say go with what rather than trying to struggle to learn a new tool, unless that's one of your goals, right? And I think a lot of builders and a lot of makers do that, is that they will build a new app or a new venture not to turn it into a business, but to use it as a learning opportunity to learn a brand new technology and bring that to life as like a pet project rather than the goal of turning it into a profitable business. And so I think just asking yourself, what is the goal? Is it to learn new tech and push myself that way? Is it to actually build a business around, in which case you likely want to avoid building at first, unless it's like a landing page or a small tool to help you learn, and then think about scaling as you move forward.
Awesome. All right. So I'm gonna see if I can find another question for us. But in the meantime, if there's anyone here on YouTube that has a question, you can go ahead and ask in the comments here. That's what we're here for. We're here to help you get unstuck on any projects you're working on, any ideas you have, whatever it may be. If you want feedback on a design, like we can actually invite you to the call here, share your screen, walk through it, talk about it. Or if you have like a landing page you want to like feedback on, we're happy to do that. So that's what we're here for. Um, all right. Oh, actually, we have a comment from YouTube. Design JD says, "Hey guys, watched a few of your videos. I've been waiting for this. However, I realized I don't have a question. From the UK, I'm 27. Started my own design firm in 2018. Congrats, that's awesome. Um, in the bathroom industry, that's very interesting. I have an idea. Spoken vaguely to some businesses in the industry. Worried about talking to directors and CEOs of big companies that I know." Um, Yeah, hey, if you is there, is there something specific? Um, yeah, I would love to kind of walk through that with you if you have a specific question about just kind of getting started with the idea. We'd love to walk through that with you. Um, oh, looks like we have another question from Eric though. While we're waiting for JD to answer, um, what's the next step after you have an MVP?
That's a loaded question, Eric, but I would say, it depends what your MVP is. I think, some people will think of a landing page as an MVP or a tool to learn or prototypes as a type of MVP. And some people also will refer to like the first version of your beta product that delivers end to end as an MVP. So I think, um, the way that we approach that is just trying to always think about business traction and growth. What are we trying to learn? And there's a good video as well, Jacob, that if you want to reference about the opportunity theory and just understanding, being able to come out of the business and understand, you know where are your biggest risks or opportunities. And so for us, a lot of that is measuring the progress and the engagement that somebody has through the process, through the pirate model, which is awareness, acquisition, activation, retention, referral, and revenue. And so all of those items really add up to give us a full picture of somebody's engagement with our app and our MVP. And so really, as a small team or as a solo founder or whatever your situation is, you should be asking yourself, what's the next thing or what's the biggest thing I need to learn or the biggest risk I need to address? And often that'll give you a good pointed direction of, what you should do next as far as, is it building a new feature? Is it taking that MVP and trying to get, 10 customers to their win, and trying to get recurring customers? And Sahil, is the founder of Gumroad, has been working on something. I'll see if I can dig it up for the past year, and his big thing is very hands-on with people, his MVP, and it was getting 10 customers to not only pay for the app, but actually love it and continue to use it day in and day out. And so for him, like, that was really important because now he knows, hey, we got 10 people there, not only pay for it but continually use it in that pirate model that I mentioned. So they're paying for it, they're returning back, they're getting value out of it continuously. Now, he understands that he's tweaked the product to a point where you can start to scale and start to pump money into it. I think where a lot of people maybe run into problems is having an MVP launch and thinking that they can just throw marketing dollars at it. And usually what happens in that scenario is if you don't have retention fixed or you don't have revenue kind of fixed or optimized, you're basically just pouring money down a funnel, and you're not really getting things out of the product. And so when you think about MVP and what's next, is your problem acquiring customers? In which case, as I mentioned, a lot of people will pour money at things, or is your problem retention? Are you not providing enough value in the app for folks to actually stay in and stay, engaged and get the value that they need out of it? Or is there a disconnect between how you speak about your MVP on the landing page and the experience they get once they log in, and understanding that perception? So really starting out and asking yourself, what do I need to learn? Will be able to help you figure out that next step. And Eric, if you have a specific example or want to hop on and talk about your idea, we could dig in more specifically about your MVP or kind of your journey so far.
Awesome. Looks like JD he must have been watching on his phone. I think he switched to his computer now. But while we're waiting for JD, if you want to hop onto the call with us, just say yes and we'll send you a link. But before we do that, we'll answer Ivana's another question for us. How are UX design teams managing and communicating from COVID-19 and not being able to physically meet? Is there a particular project management software you would recommend? I think the link I shared earlier, I can share it again, is a good example of that. We had Clint and Ryan share a whole case study basically on like how they were able to do exactly that this year with a product. But Andrew, you can definitely speak to it.
Yeah, for us, like, it's all, Headway is a remote agency already, and so COVID pushed us fully remote. We're about 40% in Green Bay, 60% throughout the United States. And so, I think it's just aligning your tools and your process. So if you're running, let's say you're running agile ceremonies, which includes a daily stand up, would include a weekly sync, supporting that with digital tools is super helpful. So our tool stack includes using Slack kind of day to day, and with some stand ups using Zoom. Um, Aligning on the product roadmap and releases. So we'll use a tool called Stories on Board to do user story mapping to actually map out the journeys and things we're working on, and understand where our gaps are. We'll also use Miro, which is Miro.com, to do digital, essentially digital whiteboard. So it's like a real-time whiteboard that you can use with your team. You can add stickies, you can add charts. So we'll do all of our business model canvases in there. We'll do all of our value mapping in there. We'll do, even notes and just meetings we'll do in there depending on the meeting type. So aligning your tools around the sort of things that are going to create clarity for your team, and really, I think the big thing for us is those tools have all changed over time. I think with the exception of Slack, we tried a bunch of video tools before we got to Zoom a few years ago. We used to design in different tools, and so just figuring out what works for your team and what doesn't, and kind of taking the feedback from your team, taking the feedback from your experiences, and figuring out like, hey, if a new tool's on the market, why don't we pilot it on a new project and try a new way that our team can connect better. So I would say a combination of asynchronous tools and tools that provide better visibility for you while you're working together and collaborating, and then also including the necessary amount of video or audio meetings where you can sync, just as you would in if you were in the office.
Awesome. Looks like JD's getting his mic ready, so hopefully he can join us and unpack his idea with us a little bit. Very, very cool. Awesome. That was a great question, Ivana, because I think that's something that I think everyone's still trying to figure out too. It's like as much as like we figure out all these tools and all these ways to do it, it's still always a learning experience. And I think that's even true when you're in person. It's always been a learning experience, like how we can do this better, and get the data we need from people. So, all right, JD, I can send you a link, and then you'll be asked to like set up your camera and your microphone and stuff the way you want, and then you'll hop in, and then you won't be live right away. We'll like bring you in, and then we'll be able to start talking. All right, JD, that link should be there for you.
And Yvonne, if you have other follow-up questions to the article that or the presentation that Jacob just shared, feel free to follow up with us too. It's just ahoy@headway.io, and we can connect more and hopefully point you in the right direction.
Yeah, that was a great question. Yeah. Awesome. Well, cool. Well, if anyone, while we're waiting for JD to hop in, if anyone else has a question, um, we're here to help. We're here to get you unstuck, hit your goals this week, all that kind of stuff. I've been loving the questions today. It's been a good time so far. So thanks everybody for being here. Appreciate it. And yeah, and we're here every Wednesday, at the same time, Wednesday morning. So if you have questions any week, want feedback on anything you're doing, we're here to help. Happy to do that for any of you. So very grateful for you all being here. Awesome. Well, cool.
Yeah, and JD asked no webcam. No, that should be all good. You should be able to just
Yeah,
call in
you
via
don't.
audio as well.
Yep, you don't need a webcam. Just need to be able to chat with us, and we can turn off your camera and stuff too. Awesome. Yeah, and Yvonne too. If you want to hop on the call and ask a more specific question, we're happy to do that as well after JD hops on here. So, and then Eric, I don't know if you're still listening, but you're also welcome to hop into. I know we said that before, but all right. Hello, is it JD or Johnny? It looks like you put your name as Johnny. How's it going?
Yeah, Johnny. Hi. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
for inviting me on.
Yeah. So how can we help you today?
Yeah, it's better. I don't really have a question. It's sort of, I've got an app idea. I know it will work. I've spoken to both showrooms and manufacturers, but it's just a giant circle of where to start. Do you get confirmed contracts with sort of manufacturers? Do you get the app sorted and just get an investor because it's sort of the bathroom industry is funny because it's so big and it's like one company is sort of a couple of billion, not so that's the whole of industries. So sort of the MDs that I speak to and I've worked with in the last sort of 10 years and pretty big companies, but they could literally do what I sort of want to do very, very quickly. There's an app out there that's sort of similar, but nowhere near as sort of how it would need to be for the bathroom industry. But sort of I set up my company to do designs for like bathroom designs and stuff like that, but realized I can't scale that up without spending 6 years training someone up to be as good as me. So it's sort of looking at the other problems in the market because there's so many. You got sort of the biggest companies in the world are actually buying the product from smaller companies who are also selling it, but just putting up 40% markups. And when you're talking about $8,000 products, it's quite a big markup. So I don't really. I'm trying to think of a question because I've got a lot. Sort of, I've made pitches and whatever it's called, pitch decks, but I don't know where to start. Really, it's hard to. And getting the money and sort of getting the actual customer base. So it's hard to talk about it without giving you the idea. So it's probably best to just talk about the idea. But this is my main worry as well. Is it so easy to bloody do? Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
So sort of simply, I've got sort of 900 brochures here. I work at home. I've got 900 brochures. They come every year. I've worked on my own for 2 years. So I've got now a garage with filing cabinets of brochures. When a customer comes, I have to give them a whole brochure, but I'm circling one point. But if it was all on one app, where every single manufacturer, all 300 manufacturers, however many there are, have their products on, the designer can have one version of the app. They're picking the products as they go around the showroom. They send it to the customer. They've got their own version of the app. They're not going online to see discounted product. They're not looking at other product. They just got the information they wanted there. Because a lot of the time, it's people coming in saying, I want a basin unit. How much space have you got? Oh, I don't know about that much. So you go, it could be one of these sizes. Go check one of these 3. But it's just, a cataloging system. But at the moment, the only real option people have got are PDFs and downloading it and going through their phone, or having an actual brochure which is printed. And it's sort of, for some companies, it's sort of 6 million a year for their brochure fees. So even tapping into that side of it is huge. But if you can then get the side, because obviously I'm just spilling everything now. So things like AI is coming huge. If you start to take in the information of people's room layout, stuff like that, and people can input it so they can take it to the showroom, have images, you're starting to learn that. So in 6-7 years time, there'll be a design system with an AI that can look at sort of a room type and say, these are your 300 options you could have. Which ones do you like? And very quickly they can just go through, now I need a bigger shower than that, stuff like that. So it's preparing for that side of it. And I've been waiting for 10 years basically to try and find a way naturally into it. And this cataloging way, I think, is the best way in. So it's sort of, there's so many branches to my idea, but I've validated they validated the target audience because everyone needs a bathroom. So if everyone knows, if you're looking for a bathroom, you can go to the design app and you start your process. It gives you a 5-minute video, teaches you everything about bathrooms. Because the amount of, most people go to a plumber or whatever, and the plumber will say, yeah, you got to do this, this, and this. But it's because it's easy for the plumber. But really, most people want their bathroom how they want their bathroom, stuff like that. So, yeah, I know the idea is there, but it's where to start. I'm doing sort of not working full time, but sort of I put effort in, like 100+ hours a week kind of thing. I've got people around the country that I know very well that are sort of either in the design side or the manufacturing side. Do I get one of them on board, or do I just keep it as my soul, get someone who I know? Because I've got a friend who's really good at sales and sort of head of sales for Mercedes-Benz, long story. But yeah, he's my age, but also doesn't want to be doing what he's doing, but it's just a very good job. So sort of trying to get him in, and I think actually using friends are good, but the friends I've got close are not interested.
Yeah. Well, I think we can roll back a little bit on that. It sounds like there's a lot like in your head that you're trying to figure out.
A little bit too much.
Yeah, no, but that's okay. I mean, you're trying to solve this thing. So, the one thing I keep thinking about, I don't know if Andrew, you can chime in whenever, but I'm like thinking about, when you say it's validated, like everybody needs a bathroom, or everybody, like that's, I mean, of course everyone needs a bathroom, but you already know the habits that people are using right now to currently solve that problem. And is you building an app, are people going to want to change their habits to use this app? Like,
So
right.
yeah, that's
Like,
changing the habit of people are just still going to Google bathroom ideas on Google and get to it. So
yep.
tapping into that, the good side I saw of it was because you've got already there's quote companies that manufacturers pay sort of 80 to £100,000 to get all their stuff on there. I've got that side of it. What I was seeing was getting the showrooms.
Yeah.
So when their customer comes in, the showroom's got their own bathroom builder app that they're building the products. They can go Hansgrohe Waste 501, whatever because they know their specific products, getting that type, or if they don't know, clicking close coupled toilet. So it's a tool mainly for the showroom.
Yeah.
But then to get the showroom to want it, you need the customers on it as well. Because if a customer goes on and goes, oh, there's a design attribute or whatever, there's a showroom here, and they can use it as sort of like a showroom finder. But it is mainly getting the showroom to push the customers there. And because it's the brochure side of it, I see that's where the money is being spent and lost, is we literally chucked away skips every year. We'd have skips full of brochures, just chucking them away. And every year you get a new one. It's exactly the same, bar 2 products that have been discontinued, and the price has changed on every product. Whereas you could just do that instead of printing off another 40,000 brochures. But that's the manufacturers then got to have the showrooms, so the showrooms can give that out to. So that's why I'm like, well, where do I start? Do I get like an Instagram style app of ideas that you get the customers, or do you go to the showrooms, or do you go to the manufacturers? It's the full circle.
I think for us, like where we might start, just thinking about this, is like trying to get that champion. If the showroom is kind of the the beachhead of users, in which case you need kind of their products, you need also maybe some of their design expertise or recommendations on products, and that might be a good place to start as a tool to help them design more effectively and sell more effectively in-house, and that kind of augment their workflow as you think about how it would make their life easier, but also help them save money. Let's say somebody was booking an appointment with a designer to come into the showroom and they were going to recommend their products. They could say, hey, download our iOS companion app and just walk the perimeter of your room with your phone right next to the wall. And
exactly.
And then when they come in, whoever you're consulting with or whoever's taking you through the showroom will say, hey, great, well, we have your layout. We know where your plumbing is now. We know XYZ. I mean, that's a pretty compelling value prop for me as somebody who's actually looking to redo our master bedroom or master bathroom, of like, hey, if I could see my exact, instead of me using SketchUp and pouring hours into that and doing my own research, if I could know that there was like Kohler or somebody who would say, hey, we've taken your exact bathroom and we've come up with, a dozen different layouts, for you. And not only like, here's the cost for the different equipment, and it's like the actual 3D visualizations of what it would look like, but also here's some potential costs, and here's some some plumbers in your area, and here's a general contractor.
Yeah, that's the thing, because there's so many sort of getting people the right plumber is one of the biggest bits. That's why people a lot of the time do just go straight to the plumber. A bit of my history is I was a bathroom designer. I started my own company because everyone sort of said go on your own. I just pinged you in the private chat sort of the designs I produce, but it's really hard to scale this up. And I know the design process so hard. Like I've done sort of Carol Vorderman's design. I was the personal bathroom designer. I've been called out to do certain things, and that's why I've gone on my own. But realizing how on my own, I am in it. So it's sort of pushing it towards this brochure side, because the visuals I can produce and I've got are much better than what anyone's getting. And you said cola, even though that's like mainly American.
Yeah.
One of the guys I was talking about that I sort of go out and have drinks with was the old cola rep for the UK. So I used to be the regional sales manager for the CAD company, Virtual Worlds. So I had 1,900 accounts. So it's sort of, I used to travel around, see them, and everyone's got their own problems. And this app would be the start. Having an independent app would be the start of bringing it all together.
Yeah.
And
I
now
think,
I've,
yeah, a good starting point might be just finding that partner, right? That can maybe offset the cost of investing it if you can speak to that journey and how, this idea is going to change it. Obviously, you could have some, I don't know if it's patentable in the current form of IP, but you could have some protections around it, or some NDAs and things for those companies, that you're talking to be able to then, go in and sell and say, hey, I'm looking for a partner for me to bring this to market for the first year. You'll be the exclusive whatever provider of this. And, because there are a lot of companies out there, manufacturers and beyond, that are either starting their own startups in the space like this, or dog fooding or testing their own ideas to then spin to the market as new potential revenue streams or venture exits or things for them. And so I think, that proposition for a lot of companies is good. Either they're trying to build them internally or find companies, or startups at this phase where they can partner with to give their intel and their process and kind of, help make the product better than it would be with those insights, but have it go around all of the internal corporate slowness, so to speak.
yeah. So is that a partner with money that sort of brought a business?
It'd be like, what a manufacturer or, a Kohler or somebody who you could, get behind, the app as an exclusive
Yeah,
partner that would then own, some outcome in the success of it.
because it's sort of, as a bathroom designer, I'll have sort of 30 odd manufacturers in a one bathroom.
Yeah.
So it's, I can't, if it's sort of like Kohler, for example, they do taps and everything, but it's sort of having the whole. Yeah.
Yeah. It could be a provider for each type of thing, right? Hey, they want to be a partner to provide more than, just
So
countertops. Like, here's what that looks
it
like.
might be better in, so getting a showroom chain that's sort of got 250 showrooms across the country might be better than a manufacturer.
Yeah.
Because they've got going that side of it. Because the other side, you never see manufacturers advertise sort of, we don't get bathroom adverts from the manufacturer, we get Victorian bathroom and stuff like that.
Yep.
But never the actual manufacturer. So yeah,
So
actually
potentially
going to a showroom.
the showrooms. Yeah. That makes sense.
Cool.
But I think like finding out, what is the offer for them, and there might even be enough, like to your point, depending on the number of manufacturers in the space and things you need, there might be enough to even just start pre-selling it, using their products or mock-ups of their products ahead of it. I mean, to them it's sales. The other option is you could try and raise money the other way and, develop partnerships with them where you're creating the bathroom designs, or maybe they're creating the bathroom designs, and being able to collect almost like affiliate partner revenue from the sale of those different things. And you kind of have that online catalog where they can refer in and, be able to purchase things to them.
Yeah, that is the again end game, but it's also protecting the showrooms.
Yep.
Because the amount of people that are buying bathrooms online and then have to pay another $4,000 to get it sorted because they didn't think about this or they didn't know about that flow and stuff like that. So it's directing them towards the expertise, the end customer towards the expertise. Right, cool. I know I haven't really asked much, but it's clear. It's just talking it through because there's just so much to think about. But yeah, cool.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. I mean, sometimes you just gotta like start talking out loud to get the ideas out of your head and talk to somebody about it. So it's all good.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
But yeah, cheers. I've been waiting for. I've sort of been setting the reminders, but obviously
Nice.
I'm in the UK, and this 5 o'clock one worked out well, so decent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Johnny.
Yeah. Awesome. Take care.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers.
All right, awesome. We actually have another question from Yvonne. Let me see. I'm waiting for it to pop up here in the tool so I can share it. There we go. Awesome. She asked, please talk about the connect between UX design research and data analytics. As design researcher, it's important to look at data analytics with our research design. Is our job also data analytics?
It's a good question. I would say it's everyone's job, but I think as far as like who's responsible for it, but company by company could change. But I think like understanding, we talk about this all the time, like the two types of data you'll get about your platform and your users is what they did. So the analytics side of it, what actions did they actually take? How long were they there? Um, you know, what led them to leave or to not sign up, all those things. And the qualitative side of it of, well, why did they do it? So, pairing, as a UX researcher, pairing that data with that research is really important. And, in our experience, we usually have somebody who either a product strategist or a product lead on our team, or potentially, a designer who's leaning more towards UX, could be involved in that. So I would say the job would be making sure you have the instrumentation, one, and when we talk with a lot of startups and product companies, there's usually a big gap for them where maybe they have Google Analytics installed, but they don't have specific event tracking or goal tracking or things set up in the platform that allow them to take action. And so a lot of times, we'll recommend tools like Amplitude or Intercom or things that help us give more event-based or activity-based metrics about customers, and then try to create almost like a behavioral design nudge system and notification system that helps to guide people through a journey and remind them of the value that it creates if they don't take a step. So I know that's kind of a it depends answer, but it truly does depend. I think the connection between research and data analytics is clear. I mean, if we only take users at their word, we're probably missing a huge part of what they do. So really, with any startup or any idea, or I guess anything as humans, like we will lie with the best intentions. So we could do a user interview with somebody and they would say, oh, I would absolutely use that. And here's my process. And then when we observe it in the wild, like their behavior changes for the better or for the worse. Right. And so I think just understanding how you can combine those two to then figure out, well, hey, users said they would use this, and now that we launched it, they don't. Let's go figure out why. And that's usually a combination of those interviews and talking with customers, and also just looking at metrics and being able to then say, hey, we're going to run an experiment, and here's the metric we're hoping to see. Here's our hypothesis around how it might change, and then you can guide some of the team's work based on that. So hopefully that was helpful, Yvonne.
Awesome. Well, I think we can wrap it up for today. It was a lot of great questions today. Wow. Really, really good time. But tomorrow, just want to share. Let's see here. Let me just get the link all ready to go here. So tomorrow we actually have a live interview that we'll be doing on the YouTube channel here. So if this is your first time joining us, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and you can catch us every Wednesday here. But also we have events throughout the month. We have three events that we do every month. One's on product, one's on design, and one's on development. So whatever kind of fits your realm, like we have something for you. But let me just get this shared up, and then we can show you what we got going on tomorrow with Douglas Ferguson. All right. So if you head to our website, go to headway.io, you can actually register to get reminded about this event tomorrow. But we'll be chatting, Robert and Ryan will be chatting with Douglas Ferguson of Voltage Control. He's also written two great books. One's called Magical Meetings, and then Beyond the Prototype. And they'll be talking about, change at scale, sustaining innovation, transforming your culture, meeting systems, just like how can you do better work as a team together in meetings. But he's got his books right here. So if you want to check out his books, they're on our website. But yeah, you can either register here, or you can just join us on YouTube tomorrow on the live stream and ask questions. And it'll be a pretty candid, casual conversation with Douglas, but we're excited to have it. as always, too, like, thanks for being here today. And hopefully you can join us again next week. And we're always here to answer questions. And as a reminder, if you have a project you're working on, you can hop in just like JD did earlier. You can actually share your screen with us. We can walk through things together and hopefully help you reach your goals. So is there anything else you want to share, Andrew?
There's not. I think that's super helpful. Great questions again, as Jacob mentioned, and excited to keep in touch with everyone's journey, and hopefully things continue to go well. But yeah, let us know if there's questions that come after here. ahoy@headway.io, or reach out to us, through DMs on one of the platforms, and we'll get you the right answer.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you, everybody. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.